Welcome into another episode of Outside Shots with Eddie Johnson. I am Saul Bookman. That is the man right here. I'm pointing to my right, but it's my left. Eddie Johnson. How you doing today, Eddie?
Where are you? I'm
in great Kansas City. I have not left since Monday in our last show.
Where are you staying?
I'm still stuck in purgatory. I'm actually I'm at Capital One because they got these little internet cafes and you can book a little nook. So I'm in a private room all to myself so the noise doesn't bother the show this time instead of what happened on Monday.
You charge that to the company?
No, it's free. If you're a Capital One customer, they take care of you. Capital One.
Capital One. You do that commercial?
Yeah.
Capital One.
Yeah.
Why you not hanging out with Charles Samuel Jackson and Spike Lee?
I never got the invite, man. I don't know what's going on, man. My agent must not have called me, so
okay.
It is what it is. EJ, I will say this: how's Illinois doing in the Big Ten tournament?
Man, please, we scored about 104 points yesterday.
Who y'all got today?
I don't care.
Oh, okay. All right. They were that confident, huh? Okay.
We're healthy.
Right.
No, we're healthy for the first time all year. We've dealt with injuries on and off with key players all season. All of them are back now. And, Iowa is a team that can score the ball. Like two of the highest scoring teams in the Big Ten this year was Illinois and Iowa.
I mean, you only have to score 60 points a game to be the highest scoring team in the Big Ten, but go on.
No, Illinois was scoring a lot more than that, obviously. So dropped about 104 yesterday. That's what we do.
Okay.
Illini, baby. ILL. Can I get it? Can I get the end of it? ILL.
INOIS.
That is really, seriously.
What do you want? What do you want from me?
If I tell you ILL, you say
INI. Okay, all right. My bad. I'm not an Illinois guy. My fault.
Well, why don't you go to the campus one time and you will be in awe?
Why would I be in awe?
Unbelievable campus.
Oh.
Unbelievable campus. And they still play in the same arena they played in back in the 70s. And it looks, whoever designed that arena, it still looks brand new today. It looks like a flying saucer. So look it up. It looked like a flying saucer. They renovated it one time a few years ago. But I am telling you, all the other schools have gotten new arenas. We don't need one because we build things to last in Illini country.
Oh, okay.
See,
right.
we're built to last.
Calm down there, champ. All right. The Fog Allen Fieldhouse still exists. McHale Center, also built in the 70s, still exists. Same arena.
But it's ugly. Right. It's ugly, though. It looks like a barn.
It's beautiful. It's
it
beautiful
looks like a barn.
You're talking about Fog Allen? You talking about the Fog?
Where you play, yeah. Yeah.
We played McHale.
Yeah,
that's
where you
barn.
play.
What are you talking
about? A barn. That place is not pretty at all.
It's gorgeous. What are you talking about?
I've been in McHale.
Yeah, so
we
you
played
know
preseason game down there. That building's like 89 years old.
I think you're talking about Bear Down Gym.
How old is the arena that they play in right now?
It was built in 72, I believe.
Thank you. It's old. We're 72.
But it doesn't look like a barn.
I was a teenager.
I wasn't even born. EJ, what's your point?
So what I'm telling you is, in Illinois, that arena was built around the same time, and it looks brand new.
Okay.
McHale does not. It looks like a barn.
Okay. Congratulations on your newish
Arizona
arena.
People don't like it. What you gonna do about it? You know what you gonna do?
Anyway, Matt Ishbia has got plenty to do for the Phoenix Suns, as he is. Listen, an article dropped today by Tim McMahon of ESPN, and it kind of went through the Suns' current status. And one of the things that came up was Matt Ishbia talking about basically just refuting the idea of even considering going into a rebuild of any sort. And there's one specific quote that I want to get into, in addition to several others that I thought were very, very poignant. Okay, first, this one by Matt Ishbia, right, where he says, "We had high expectations. We felt really good about where we were going into the season, and we've not met any of those expectations." That's what he says there in that quote. But one of the things that I want to point out is that he talked about this idea of rebuilding, and one of those concepts that he does not agree with was basically about the idea of, why would you ever want to rebuild? He says, in terms of rebuilding or reloading, he is very much on the page of reloading. He does not want to rebuild. He does not understand the concept that fans would enjoy the idea of waiting 7 years, quote unquote, to get to a championship or have, prolonged success. And I think that's going to stir a debate of sorts, because I don't think anybody's wanting this to be stripped down to the studs per se, but I think the idea that the pieces you have will allow you to get other pieces to come into the fold to still maintain a championship level or get to a championship level might be a little short-sighted, I think, in fans' eyes. What do you have to say about that?
I give you an analogy. I'm an analogy king. So I froze there for a second, which made me look even better than what I look. With my gray beard, by the way. It's not going to stay, though. I can't walk around with a gray beard. Like I have a reputation to uphold. I'll give you an analogy. End of my career, I was a 38-year-old, and my back was killing me, right? So I didn't even think I would play. And I'm like, if I did play, I'm not going to play many minutes. I was one of those guys that hated to take any kind of medicine. Like, I once had surgery on my knee while I was awake. Okay. So I just hated to, from a medicine standpoint, I was one that like try to, deal with the pain tolerance of it all. So what I did was I finally gave in, because it was a very important game. I was playing for the Rockets, and I'd seen other players do it, and I saw how they moved around after they did it. So I took one of those shots. Propofol, whatever it is. I don't know whatever it is, but right in the boo-boo, right there, right in the hiney. That thing hurt too. So I took that shot. No, you've done it before. Yeah. See, you're a needle guy. I got you. So I took the shot, and it hurts, man. You get shot in the rear, man. It's a lot of meat back there, but Eddie didn't have any body fat. So
it kind of feels like this. It kind of feels like this in your butt right there.
Yeah, like I couldn't. I mean, I didn't have much body fat, so so it kind of hurt a little bit. So I took the shot, and I went and sat down, and then I went out and I started warming up, like about 15, 20 minutes later. I literally felt like I was 23 again.
Mm.
It scared the living daylights out of me. So I'm not kidding you. I was dunking in the layup line. Like, the guys were looking at me. They were like, what the heck? I was going in, and seriously, I could dunk. I just didn't do it a lot in my career, right? But I could dunk. And so I was going in. I was sideways, Jordan, threw it off the backboard. And like Charleston was looking at me like, what the heck? I'm like, man, I feel good. And man, I played that whole game, felt good as heck, right? And so here's my analogy. I kind of get what Ishbia is saying. What Ishbia is saying is, I could have just quit and not played, right? I could have just stayed, where I was. I could have just stayed right there and not struggled. But me healthy, I was a danger. Like, me being injected with something gave me something to obviously help me and help the team. So I think that's what he's saying. He's saying is, instead of like stripping it down bare bones and starting over, which is still no guarantee. Still no guarantee. Look at Philadelphia, the process, right? What did they do for a number of years? Yeah, they drafted Joel Embiid, who turned to the MVP. They had Ben Simmons, who's a pretty damn good player. They still have not gotten out of the second round. After all the losing, after all the rebuilding, they go get Paul George, and they not even make the playoffs this year. So a lot of times people say rebuild, but it's not a guarantee that that's still going to be the answer too. And so the one thing that we do know is players want to play in Phoenix. They want to come to Phoenix to play. And so when you have that advantage, then, you're like, well, why should I just strip it all the way down? I'm just going to keep seeing if I can inject something over here, inject something over there to give us that boost to be able to go play at a high level. Like, I knew I could play. I was valuable to the team, but I was invaluable if I didn't take that shot. And so what he is saying, he just needs to give these guys a shot of somebody by bringing somebody in that's going to probably give them that push that can take them higher. Here's my final end to this. Case in point. Two situations that's going on right now. Minnesota was struggling like no other, right? A lot of people were looking down on Julius Randle, saying, oh, that was a bad trade, blah, 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 right? Since Julius Randle has been back, because Minnesota was struggling, they was messing around with the play-in themselves, they're 11-0. They're 11-0. A lot of people will say, he's not going to do anything that much different. They're not the team they were last year. They're 11-0 with him in the lineup. Jimmy Butler, Golden State, but was below us. Flirting, playing. They pick up Jimmy Butler. They're 13-1 since they got him. So some people always want to say, strip it down. Not necessary. Those are the ones that want to quit. Those are the ones that take about 50 pills of vitamins to get in shape instead of going to the club and getting on the treadmill.
Okay.
So that's so I think that's what Ishbia is saying, and I have no issue with it, but they just got to make the right decisions. That's all, and I think that's going to be the challenge.
There's two caveats to that. One, the roster construction needs to be in a position to be able to adapt to something like that by adding a player, let's just say, or
subtracting a player.
Okay, or your organization / coach also needs to have an identity by which you can go about doing this, right? So Jimmy Butler getting stuck into the Warriors. Well, the Warriors are a well-run organization. They have a good coach. And so plugging a player like that in without too many other variables shifting too much, I think is a little easier than, let's just say, you brought in a Jimmy Butler to the Suns. I'm still not convinced. I think the Suns might have been better off, and I will say that they probably would have made the playoffs with Jimmy Butler, but I don't think they would have made the playoffs if you had to replace Kevin Durant with Jimmy Butler. I don't think that would have happened, and I don't think that would have been enough of a dramatic shift
I don't think that was going to happen.
To be, but that's my point, though. Is like there's a lot of different variables that go into this, and so when I look at this, I agree with Matt Ishbia to a certain degree. Like, yeah, I don't agree that you should just strip this all the way down to the studs and start all over, right? Like, I think you can be shrewd and calculated in terms of the moves that you're making in order to shore up this roster. But I definitely, and I really hesitate to say these types of things because I don't like to throw a coach under the bus. But if in the words of my boy Flex, if it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, don't call it what you would say, a dinosaur. Like the Suns are who they are. They're a team that is still struggling offensively and defensively with their concepts in terms of positioning, spacing. Devin Booker mentioned it the other day after the Rockets game. Shout out to Dwayne Rankin for getting that interview. Like, there was things that are still inherently wrong with the Suns, and I don't know if Coach Bud is really the guy that's going to be the one that takes them to the next level. And this is also a fault of the front office in terms of evaluating coaches and getting. Now, this will be the second coach that they've hired in their regime that has been a retread of sorts, that came with a little bit of baggage, and that might not work out. And so, what's the next step? Do I trust this front office is going to be able to make the right decisions to get the right head coach in position? I don't know, because so far they would be 0 for 2 in that regard, and they haven't even had a single playoff win with the most expensive roster in basketball. That is a problem. You can't do that. You just can't. So the quote I was going to get to was before was, it's surprised by Matt Ishbia was, it's surprising to me that other people, other fans, they actually like the rebuild process. Ishbia said, disdain dripping from his voice as the final word of that sentence comes out of his mouth. Like, oh, let's rebuild it. Are you crazy? You think I'm going to go 7 years and try to get there? You enjoy the 2030 draft picks that we have holding. I want to try to see the game today. I want us to win today, and we're going to try. End quote. So Ishbia is all in on trying to win right now. And I'm not mad at that. Like, hey, he's the owner. If he wants to do that, fine. But I do think that they need to be a lot more calculated in their approach. Then we fast forward to Bradley Beal. And Bradley Beal's had a tough go of it, obviously, since becoming a Sun. Fair or not, a lot of fans hold a lot of things against him. The no trade clause, the salary that he makes, and the fact that he's injured all the time. And the reason why, like, he would not waive his no trade clause, right? So his quote in this whole saga is, at the end of the day, I'm human. So I have to really take a step back and just kind of look at the big picture. And my biggest thing is, I came here, I want to win. I've scored 30 points a game. I've been an All-Star. I've been All-NBA. I want to win. That's the thing. And that has always been my label. I haven't won anything. So whatever that looks like for the team, whether that's me coming up the bench, whether it's me starting, whether it's me, whatever it is, I'm going to do it. Do I agree with it? Hell no. But I'm going to be that guy. And then he ends it with, I'm still playing in the NBA. I still have the best job in the world, and I still have my no trade clause. So I'm smiling every day. that last part of the quote, I honestly, I kind of dig it. I love it. I love that he's kind of trolling trolls a little bit. He's kind of throwing it back at you, like, yeah, well, guess what? I got my no trade clause, and you can't do anything about it.
Well, they think they can. That's the problem. Like, they think they can. They think they can get on Twitter, social networking, and rip guys, and think you're going to bully them out of the position that they're in, which is kind of funny to me in thinking that. And I happen to love what Bradley Beal said. And look, Bradley Beal, man, it's just, you know, I'm sure you saw the video of Coleman Hawkins, right?
Oh my God, yes.
And so,
yes.
I mean, if you can get your guy, maybe we can pull it up. I know we're into the show, but whatever.
Actually, Shane, it is actually in the Mikhail Madness section of Notion. So there you go.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you could play it or whatever, but still, and I guess I went there, so I might as well bring it up. Coleman Hawkins is, he got paid a ton of money to go to K-State. He left Illinois, which I was very disappointed that he left, but I understood why he left. I mean, how much they put all that money in front of him. But when he made that decision, I don't think he realized that he was walking into an abyss, that he was going to be judged every game and not just every 4 or 5 games. He received threats, and he was just ridiculed and blamed for everything because you're dealing with neophyte fans in college. You're dealing with a lot of kids. They don't understand. They feel like they can say anything. They can give you death threats. They can do all of that because they think they can get away with it. Because when you're young, you think you're going to live forever. And so they're more aggressive and not even and not informed on a lot of stuff. And he suffered the price, and he broke down, started crying, and all of that. And people right there should have realized that this kid loves basketball before he loved the money. And you just can't love the money first, or you won't play. I watched their games. The kid played hard. He just didn't play up to the level to lead them to win like he thought he would. And so very difficult. And Bradley Beal's facing the same thing. Bradley Beal's going through the same thing, but he's mature enough to know to get through it, like the quote you just read and what he just said. But a young player like that, he's not ready for that. This is something new for him. Bradley Beal dealt with the losing in D.C. I'm sure he got the criticism in D.C. So he's prepared for what happened here. But he made a decision to come here. He made a decision to waive his no trade clause. He made a decision to be third wheel. He made a decision to come off the bench. I mean, he accepted all of those things. And, you know, people are so caught up in his contract, which is amazing to me. They've lost sight of his play on the court. Now, I know, from a health standpoint, Bradley Beal is a guy that's dealt with injuries a lot, right? He's only played in 46 games this year. So I get that part of it. But that's correctable, hopefully, right? But, you know, what about the fact that he shot 50% this season? What about the fact that he shot almost 40% from three? What about the fact that he shot 82 from the line? What about that? He can play. So that goes back to your point, Saul. Bradley Beal can play. Devin Booker can play. Kevin Durant can play. So when you have three guys that can play, now you got to figure out what to put around them to help them play. And then the guys that's still here, infuse in them that injection to make them immerse themselves into the role that they know they have to play to help the team win. Oklahoma City, they go into Boston the other day without Jalen Williams, without the second best, quote unquote, best player. It could be Chet Holmgren. Chet Holmgren stepped up. He's healthy now. Other guys stepped up. They forced Boston into taking 63 threes, and they beat them on their floor, going away. Like, it's no accident. It's no accident why they're good. It's no accident why Cleveland is good. Guys have just come together. They've rallied around each other. They've gotten tremendous coaching, and they've won. So we have the ingredients. We just haven't made the right concoction to do it, man. And that's the disappointing part. So I agree with Ishbia, man. It's like, man, I'd rather just add a few more ingredients to see if I can make this work than me just tear it all up and start from scratch.
Well, some of those ingredients are the rookies, and we will get into that here in a second. But the last part I did want to bring up is Beal did also go on to say this, which is very important because a lot of people, you know, in the Jimmy Butler saga, they thought that Bradley Beal would be a part of a trade, or at least they hoped that he would be because of their own personal reasons. But he says it is a different deal in the summer. Everything is kind of more laid out on the table. You got more options. So I think basically, listen, the other part of this is Bradley Beal is a family man. Arizona is a great place to live. The Valley is a good place to raise your kids, right? And that is not lost on Bradley Beal. He's raising, you know, a family, and he's not going to make decisions that are just going to, you know, uproot his family and go somewhere else randomly, right? He's going to be smart and calculated in terms of the decisions he makes. So I think that in the summer, you get a little bit more time to absorb that and deal with that as it comes and decide, okay, well, maybe Miami is a good place to go, or maybe this X city or this city or whatever, right? So, you know, I think there is still the potential that Bradley Beal could be moved and that he would be open to it to a certain degree, but he ain't just going to up and root his family to go somewhere that he doesn't want to go. He just ain't going to happen.
He likes Phoenix, man. Like,
I know he does.
You move here, you love the environment, you love it for your family. And once that happens, man, you're not too interested in uprooting your family again. People don't get that. They treat like they again, they don't do it on purpose. Athletes are not robots. We're human too. So just put yourself in that place of having to uproot your family and all of that. I know, well, yeah, if I made 50 million, I wouldn't mind. Yeah, you would.
Yeah.
You still want to be comfortable, man. You still want to be comfortable, man. You still want stability. Like nothing crazier than being unstable.
Yeah.
So, I mean, people always want to think it's just that easy. It's not. Basketball is a simple sport. Simple. Okay, anybody can play it. Anybody can talk about it. That's why we have people talk about it. You dribble the ball, you pass the ball, you shoot the ball. Think about it. That's it. That's basketball. Can I say it again? You dribble the ball, you pass the ball, you shoot the ball. Everything else is a reaction, right? Go get a rebound is a reaction. Like, that's it. That's basketball. It's a simple sport, but it's extremely complicated because you have 5 other people facing you that's trying to stop you from dribbling, that's trying to stop you from passing, that's trying to stop you from shooting. That's what makes it difficult. Football field. You ever be on the football field and you walk out there, you're like, man, 10 yards is nothing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
10 yards is nothing.
Yeah.
Well, okay, go put some shoulder pads on and try. Now the problem is you got 11 guys over there trying to stop you from getting 10 yards.
Yeah.
And so that's what makes it difficult, man. And so once you figure it out, you're Oklahoma City. Once you figure it out at a high level, you're Cleveland. Cleveland has won 15 in a row twice. That's going to grow because they're on a 15-game winning streak now. And they've won 12 in a row. In 1 year, that's what Cleveland has done. I think the last team to do that is who?
Ooh. Say that again?
The last team to have a streak like that in a season.
15 in a row?
That's won 15. They had 2 long winning streaks.
Golden State?
The Phoenix Suns.
Oh, 2021.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, you're right.
So we've experienced winning. We've seen what it takes. And at that year, didn't matter how many points we were down. Still found a way to win. Still found a way. That's what Cleveland's doing right now. It doesn't matter. They can sit Donovan Mitchell down. They can be down 15. They still know how to win because they're a machine and everybody knows what they're supposed to do. Our problem this year is we are not connected. We're not. Defensively, we're not connected. We gave up layup after layup against Houston the other night. Like, it is a simple fix. It's not a difficult fix, but they're not connected. And they got to make a decision because Dallas is trying to lose. This is going to be the weirdest finish to a season we've seen in a while. Dallas tanked last year, I think. Or the year before last.
The year before last, yeah.
They tanked. They know how to do it. And they're doing it right now.
Even though they did beat the Spurs the other night.
Yeah. And they probably was ticked off they did it. But they'll start resting guys. Like, you know, all the players are sitting over there in their street clothes. They probably can play. They won't play. They'd rather go ahead and lose it out now because they know they're not going to win in a play-in. They don't have Kyrie. Anthony Davis is probably done for the season. So, you know, why even do it? But we won't let them. And I know we're not trying to do that. We're not trying to lose.
Oh, my God. It's like
that's the disappointing part,
it's
man.
Like it's like the resistible force meets the movable object.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, hey, we'll get to more of those moving pieces outside of the big three here in a second after this. One of those moving pieces that you can be going to is Circle K. Circle K, one of the best convenience stores out there in the Valley. You should go check it out. Become a member of their Inner Circle today by downloading the Inner Circle app and enjoying 25 cents off off per gallon for your first 5 fill-ups. And then you can get 5 free drinks as well. You get hookups, you get specials, you get great deals. They had it was a gas station day the other day where it was like 40 cents off. And then if you had the Inner Circle app, then there's an additional 5 cents off. If you were downloading the Inner Circle app and then use that 40 cents off, it would have been 65 cents off. It's a fantastic offer that they do about once every quarter. Fantastic deal. Take advantage of it. You need to get the Circle K app today, and you need to do it now. So go to circlek.com/inner circle, download the app, and make sure you download it today. Also, Eddie's rocking the Brandon Bills hat as always. Brandon Bills, one of the best hats in the game, one of the best apparel companies in the game, fast rising company. Started out in Arizona as well. You could take advantage of what Brandon Bills has to offer by going to brandonbills.com, downloading promo code or using promo code PHNX to save yourself up to 20% off on any type of hats, apparel, whatever you want. They got it all for you. And if you're a business, more importantly, and you don't have a distributor, if you don't have a merch person that you can go to, well, guess what? Brandon Bills has got you covered. They love to help out brands. They've dealt with all types of brands across the Valley, and you can get yourself hooked up today if you have a business, and they will create merch for your outlet specifically. So go to brandonbills.com, hit up those peeps. They are a Arizona-based company, started out in Mesa, Arizona. You can take advantage of that again today using promo code PHNX at brandonbills.com. And then finally, listen, today is the last day. If you want to become a diehard at a super, super low rate, $36 to get yourself in the door to become a diehard, you need to do that today because this is it. This is it. This is all you get until the next flash sale, whenever that comes about. But this is a great deal. And listen, especially right now with all the free agency that's going on in the NFL, the upcoming draft, all the insider access, our guy Fran Duffy out of Philly is doing a great job of he's put together a huge master list of the top 300 prospects in the draft. If you love football, if you love that kind of stuff, go become a diehard. Get in that Discord because Johnny and Bo also are just dropping nuggets all the time. They've got insider information. For those of you who didn't get a chance to see the Jonathan Gannon interview, you should go see it. And guess what? These guys they dropped a little hint of it in the Discord before it even came out. Dropped some other nuggets in there. It's a fantastic time to become a diehard. So go to gophnx.com/diehard. Become a diehard today. All right. You know what? We're going to bypass the Rooks. Listen, Ryan Dunn finally got some burn, and also did too. I thought they played very well the other night. But we got 2 other things that I want to get to, I think, before we wrap up this show. And first and foremost, listen, our condolences go out to the family of Oliver Miller, legendary son, one of the most unique basketball players this game has ever seen. And he passed away at the age of 55 to cancer, and it's just really unfortunate to see somebody. Listen, that's 55 still young, and that is just. It was a very sad day, and Eddie, I know you tweeted about it. Oliver Miller, such a unique individual. Watching him come up in Arkansas, playing for Nolan Richardson, and his game, a bigger size guy that had so much skill around the basket, passing. He could basically do it all as a big man. Just one of the most unique athletes you've ever seen on the NBA court, and taken from us way too soon.
Yeah, and more importantly, extremely gregarious, very nice, fun-loving guy. I didn't have a lot of experiences with Oliver other than playing against him. And that was always difficult. He's like you said, is a tremendous shot blocker, guy that took up space, great passer, didn't get the love as a passer that he should have gotten, and very good finisher when you got him the basketball, and then had some huge hands, as you said, and was an undersized center that had to deal with a lot of centers during that period and held his own against them. A lot of my relationship started with Oliver actually after we both retired. The one run-in I had with him, and I'm sure he's looking down on me saying, Eddie, come on, don't go there, man. Don't go there. But I remember when we were playing the Suns in the 93 Western Conference Finals. And I had to make a run to the fast food restaurant to pick up some food for my kids. And it was probably it was late too, because I think they had a late night. They had friends over or whatever. And I think it was between games. So it wasn't like the next day was a game. And so I'm in line. It was I think about 11 o'clock at night. And there's a car ahead of me. And I'm like, just looking because it was a nice car. And I saw somebody stick their head out, and I saw it was Oliver. And he was at the fast food restaurant lane. I honked the horn. I stuck my head out. I said, "What are you doing in there? What are you doing getting that?" He started laughing. He grabbed it and drove off. But the reason why I bring that up, because he was always a guy that Charles used to get on a lot about eating fast food and not being, at his weight and all of that. And the sad part about it is, when he passed away, he was, as you know, what cancer does to you, it takes your weight. And I couldn't go see him. So I text him, I talked to him. I could not see him in that way. I just didn't want to remember him in that way. And that's what makes it tough, man. Because 54, getting ready to turn 55, and he loses to that fucked up cancer. And it's the first time I've ever cursed on this podcast.
Yeah.
But it's just, to me, it's just a lot unfair. It truly is. And he supported me over the years with my foundation. He'd show up at all of my events. And if I hadn't called him right away, he'd call me. He was a member of our church. And first, Pilgrim Rest Baptist Church. And he's an usher. He's part of the security and usher team. He'd be up there standing proud all of last year at the front of the church. And you can just look at him and you can tell how proud he was to just be in that situation, because he had gone through some things in his post career. And just to see that change in him was simply amazing. And I told him about it. And that's why I always wanted him involved in everything that I did. And I made it an effort to always get a hold of him if it was something that we had going on. And so, yeah, to see it happen, man, like this fast is just unbelievable. But yeah, thoughts and prayers go out to his family, his kids, all of that, man, because he's definitely gone too soon.
I obviously I have no idea, but I had seen him about 2 or 3 years ago, and obviously he had lost weight, but I didn't know if it, obviously in hindsight now I'm like, well, I don't know, but yeah, I thought maybe he'd been working out and he'd gotten maybe Ozempic or something like that, stuff like that, but he looked good, he had lost a lot of weight, and
Yeah.
but he didn't, but it wasn't in a way where like obviously you could tell the difference between somebody that's just like they lost weight because they're ill, or they just lost weight in general.
Yeah.
Because he was still, he was still spry, he was still walking around, still, looking good. And so, yeah, and one of my favorite memories of Oliver Miller was just, honestly, like just how fun he took the game. Like he genuinely looked like he was having fun out there on the basketball court. Because I think that teased a little bit of the creative side of his brain, because he liked to be able to do things on the basketball court in a unique way. Like his passing ability, I agree with you. I think him and Arvydas Sabonis, to me, in that era, were two of the better big men that could pass, almost of all time, because they just knew angles, they knew how to be creative with the ball. They knew how to work a defender and get them out of the way when they passed. Like it's a unique skill set that not a lot of bigs have, and he was a unique one in that regard. And so, our thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family. Hopefully Big O is up there, being able to finally rest in peace. And it's a sad day in Suns land for sure. But and listen, there's no way to transition, in a different form of loss completely. We're not talking about a loss of life here, but the Diana Taurasi obviously retired officially yet, yesterday or 2 days ago in the press conference. And Eddie, you shared with me before we got on the show that you have a personal relationship with DT in a very unique way, and I don't know how many people know this, that you trained her. And so, in your experience with Diana Taurasi, what were your ultimate takeaways outside of the fact that, obviously she's going to go down as the GOAT of women's basketball?
Yeah, I was going up to the Suns facility for a period of time with my son, and when he was in high school, and I trained him up there, and obviously, that was around the time I don't think Diana was going to. She was in Europe or what have you, so she was in the gym, and I know Mark West used to train them as well, and so she happened to be in the gym the few times I went up there, and she jumped in the drills, and I was able to just show her some things and go through some stuff. Didn't know how much I needed to show her because she pretty much had everything figured out. It's unfortunate, right? Like if she was born a man with the skill set she had, she probably would have been one of the greatest NBA players. That's how good she was. Could she have played in the NBA? Yes, she could have. Like I look at certain women and I say, okay, could they have played in the NBA and played a role? Like, no, women cannot play in the NBA at a high level and play 82 games no, I don't believe that can happen. It's no offense to them. I just think it's just too physical a game. And I think that's how it would happen. But as a role player, without a doubt, she could have. You could have brought her in and spotted her up like all these other guys do. What do? They just run to the 3-point line and shoot up threes. Heck yeah, she could have done it. And she would have probably rocked some people too and crossed them over too. That's how good she was. So, when I looked at the female all-time greats, Cheryl Miller, if she didn't hurt her knee, I don't think anybody would have ever touched Cheryl Miller. But unfortunately, she couldn't stay healthy, right? So we can say that about Bill Walton. Bill Walton would have never got injured and had bad wheels. He probably could have been up there as top 5 all time. So, but injuries are a part of it. It's the landscape you have to navigate. And so Cheryl Miller came up short. Cynthia Cooper, up until this point in time, Cynthia Cooper was my GOAT for female basketball. But Diana pretty much trumped that. She's the best female basketball player ever. And she proved it by going the long distance. And people want to say that playing a long time and staying healthy enough to play, they what they do, they use it against LeBron now, right? So it's a longevity award. No, it's not. I love basketball. I stay healthy. I'm blessed to stay healthy. I keep playing at a high level award. And that's what she did, and congratulations to her. She probably could play a couple of more years, but it's good that she's stepping away. And, my hat's off to her, man. I just thoroughly enjoyed watching her play. I thoroughly enjoyed having conversations with her. All of that. I've enjoyed her openness when it comes to her sport. She's special, man. And so I'm glad that she gets an opportunity to be rewarded all year long, because that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, no, for real. She's the logo for a reason. You don't become the logo just because you're some average basketball player. That's for sure. My I had a unique opportunity to meet Diana. That went back when I was working for Fox Sports Arizona, and we were doing a video shoot, and she came in And I knew we were going to get her that day. And when she came in, it was one of the few times that I've ever been quote unquote starstruck. Diana Taurasi to me embodies everything that I love in an athlete. Their dedication, their undeniable will to win, uh, a little bit of swag, a little bit of trash talk. That entire picture, right? It encompasses exactly what Diana Taurasi is all about. And then you get to meet her, and when you meet her, there's this there legit is like this aura around her, of just like, you know, that's somebody special. Like I remember this. I remember this video way back in the 90s. It was a Michael Jordan video, and Bob Costas said, you know, if Michael Jordan walked into a room, you might not know who he is, but you would point to him and be like, that's somebody. I know that's somebody. Like, he's got to be somebody, right? And I feel that's how I feel about Diana Taurasi. Like, if you didn't know who Diana Taurasi was and she walked into the room, you would know that she's somebody. And that's the kind of presence she had, and the effect that she's had on so many people, especially women in the game. Like, she is legitimately changed the game. She made it to where, yeah, and I know other athletes have done it, but because of her longevity, because of her brashness, because of the trash talk, because she just did not give it, you know what, on the court, it allowed people to view women not as, you know, just this clean cut image. It's okay for them to muck it up themselves. It's all right for them to be an athlete, to be competitive, to show that competitive spirit. And I think for far too long, you know, there's these constructs that are predetermined, and you have to break out of them. And that's not only for women, but, you know, athletes in general, black athletes, white athletes, different types. There's stereotypes about every single athlete out there, and every now and then you're going to find somebody that's going to break those molds, and they're going to, you know, deconstruct that. And Diana Taurasi was by far one of those types of individuals. And so, you know, I'm going to miss watching her play for the Merc. You know, she's got huge fans all over the world. She did great things overseas, won multiple, you know, world championships with the Phoenix Mercury. She's won multiple world championships over in Europe. She's beloved in Russia. If you never had an opportunity to hear a story about her time in Russia, there's a 30 for 30 podcast that you should listen on ESPN about her and Sue Bird being in Russia, and it is wild. The owner of their team getting shot up, and just the craziest scenarios you could possibly think of, and she lived through that. It is just crazy, and props to her and what she's done to the game. I think she's definitely elevated women's basketball like no other person has before. So I'm excited to see the legacy she leaves behind, because now athletes like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and more are here, and they are molded after what she had, you know, basically customized for them. So shout out to that. Before we do go, you know, listen, Eddie, it's kind of an open forum. We got about 10 minutes to kill. Is there anything that's on your mind specifically that you'd love to talk about? We could go back to this Coleman Hawkins thing too. I don't know if you want to do that.
No, we can. Well, do you have the video of that?
Shane, do we have the video?
These guys haven't experienced some of the things I've experienced. And, you know, I really wanted to come in and impact the program. I'm sorry for crying, but shit hurts. But I really wanted to come in and impact the program, and, you know, some of the stuff, the outcome, obviously wasn't what we wanted, but, you know, if someone asks me if I regret coming here, I tell them, you know, I don't regret meeting my team, the coaching staff, the people I met, and my heart just breaks for them because, like I said, they just haven't experienced some of the things I experienced in my career. But same thing for the fans, because, you know, I feel like I let a lot of people down I feel like I did a poor job of letting people talk about me and it affect my play. And it was evident all year, and I wish I could just go back and block out everything, not for myself, but for the team, so we could have had a more successful year. But, I mean, this is a learning lesson for me, and I wish the best for the future of this program.
There's the clip. There's the clip on, if you've ever had a chance to watch House Party 3. It has Bernie Mac in it, and he's sitting there and he's talking to Kid, and Kid's talking about acceptance from his girl's father, and Bernie Mac straight up says, "Kid, if people can't like you for who you are, F them." Throw them against the wall, put handcuffs on them, crazy glue on their lips, F them, because they're not worth your time, straight up. And Coleman Hawkins watching that clip broke my heart, because everybody I know, and even last night in the Kansas Arizona game in the post conference, Hunter Dickinson said, people expect a lot of us because we're basically pros because we get paid now, and I vehemently disagree. I understand the concept that you're getting paid a lot of money, so you should be a professional and you should be high level, but you're still a kid and you're still learning yourself. You haven't even experienced life yet, because I'm sorry, life as a student athlete is not what life is really all about. Nobody's catering to you basically 24/7 when you're in the real world, right? You have to take care of yourself. And Coleman Hawkins having to deal with the social media blowback and the hate and the viral and just awfulness that some people can really have is just terrible. Mayo from Kansas got death threats because he wasn't shooting and he wasn't playing at a high enough level earlier in the season for Kansas. Umar Ballo, who's now at Indiana, same thing.
He's got a video out. He's got a video,
and he's getting death threats, and he's getting all types of just this vitriol from people that are just absolutely. I'm convinced of this. They're just in their fields because they never got to experience the things that these kids get to experience, and they never will. And they're never going to make the money that some of these kids get to make. This is generational wealth for some of these kids. This is the most money that some of these kids are going to make in a year, and they're setting themselves up for success. It's not their fault that somebody gave it to them.
Right. Exactly. That's a key. That's key right there. It's not their fault. They earned it. And the person that's criticizing needs to get up off his ass and go earn it. Did nobody tell you to quit playing sports when you were young because you didn't have any heart? Like, this is America. Okay. It's this is equal opportunity, supposedly, where you can pick and choose whatever you want to do in this life, the direction you want to go. And then when you decide you want to go that direction, you got to put everything and every ounce of love and work ethic into it to put yourself in a very good position, to put yourself in a space to where it's not many people that can come take your job. Can I repeat that again? Where it's not that many people that can come take your job, and your job is in high demand, but it doesn't have a lot of people that can go do it. That's those college athletes. They put themselves in position to get recruited, to be able to go help a school, win, make money, help their brand, all of it. And that's what they're there for. They're finally getting paid for it. They should have been getting paid for it a long time ago. Matter of fact, Illinois owes me a ton of damn money. Okay? Because I went there and they were nothing. Okay? When I left there, all of a sudden that program was 100% improved because they started getting recruits out of Chicago when no recruits out of Chicago would go there. All right? I was one of the first ones. Me and Levi Cobb. That's it. No one else can leave Chicago. But once I went there as an All-American and went there and stayed there, all of a sudden, the Nick Andersons of the world, the Kendall Gills of the world, they started going to Illinois. Okay? I didn't get rewarded for it. So, yeah, these kids have an opportunity to do something with their life. And you got these kids. I put a tweet out yesterday, and I said, and I responded to Elon Musk, okay, which made me want to throw up to respond, but I did. I told him, I said, you want to make America great and all that. Why don't you make X great? You know how you can make X great? require anybody that signs up for an account on X to have to produce a driver's license in their place of employment. See how many do it. The only ones that'll do it are the ones that are not afraid of showing themselves. Because you got a lot of people that's on that they don't show themselves. They use other people's profiles. They hide in their basement, and all they do is rip. All they do is criticize. That's all they do, right? And they're criticizing guys that they know where they work. They know who they are. They know where they live. But yet, we don't know where they live. So make it equal. And I guarantee you don't have this negativity that you have. So that's the problem. Like these dudes, they hide. Mike Woodson, he's stepping down from Indiana. Why? Getting death threats. At the University of Indiana. He's won more than any coach they've had over the last 5 years, but yet it's still not enough. They might make the NCAA tournament this year, despite all the negativity that he's received. So he's stepping down because he just can't take it. You know, it's like he just can't take it. His family is more important to him, and he's not going to take people threatening his life. Like, it's just, you know, the gambling apps and people gambling on sports, they're mad. They're mad at guys. It's not the player's fault that you went and took your damn money and bet. It's your fault. It's not his fault. Like, it just, I'm telling you, man, the world we live in right now is not good. There's too much hatred, man. There's just too much negativity. There's too much jealousy. People don't want to work. They don't have the attention span to even sit down and watch a full-length film. They can only watch it for 10, 20 seconds. That's why movies aren't at the theaters anymore. Because it's not COVID. That's not why it's not there. It's not there because people don't have the attention span to sit down and watch a damn movie. They'd rather watch short clips. And that's what they want from basketball players. They want instant gratification. And I love the fact Coleman Hawkins did that. Feel sorry for him. I was mad at him that he left Illinois, as I said. But I was mad because I know if he was on this Illinois team, they'd be the favorite to win it all this year. That's how good he is. He'll be at the next level. And I'm just glad that he did that, man, because it let me know, Saul, that he loves basketball.
Yeah.
Because if he just loved the money, he'd be like, whatever, I got my money, I'm good. No. He was hurting for his teammates. He was hurting for his coaches. He was hurting for his school. And people they'll never get it. These couch potatoes and water boys out there, they won't get it, man. They just won't get it, man. They're hateful, envious individuals. And you know who you are. You know who you are. It's not everybody. But you know who you are. The ones that just sitting at home and just disappointed in themselves and they just can't make it and they're living check to check. It's on you. I've been working since I've been 14 years old. I don't know how long you've been working, so I've been pushing since 14 years old. I'm 65, still working, man, hustling. You know, I mean, it's just, you know, create that drive for yourself. I'm not running around envious of players making millions of dollars. Good for them. I can't do anything about it, but you know what I can do? I can find a job where I'm actually near them and I can make some money.
Facts.
And that's what they're doing. I'm not up mad like, I can't believe when I played, I only made this and they making that. No.
Yeah.
I'm going to go work alongside them so I can get some money. That's how it goes.
Again, that's the hustle, man. That's the hustle. and being in a lot of different lines of work in my life, I am blessed to be able to do this. But it took a lot of life experience. It took a lot of trials and tribulations, and it took a lot of a lot of effort and tears to finally get to a place where I get to do a show once a week with you. So I do appreciate that. And we appreciate you all for joining us today on another episode of Outside Shots. Make sure you follow him at JumpShot8. on Twitter and on Instagram. You can follow me at Saul_Bookman, and you can follow this show at PHNX_Suns. And make sure you watch the post game tonight as the Suns take on the Kings. Pregame and post game, and check out Sirius Satellite NBA Radio. Sirius Satellite
1 to 4 Pacific time, 4 to 7 Eastern. 3 hours of NBA nonstop talk.
There you go. For Eddie Johnson, I'm Saul Bookman. We appreciate y'all time today. We love y'all. Peace.
Later.